The point I want to make in this video is that any given fraction can be written in a million different ways. For example, suppose this is a chocolate bar and you're going to eat half of the chocolate bar. You're going to eat one large piece out of the two that are available. And we write that fraction like this, 1 out of 2. Now usually chocolate bars don't come with a division down the middle. They probably look more like this. Now we've got smaller pieces, but we still want to eat half of the chocolate bar. So we're going to eat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces out of the 12 that are there. And that shows you the equivalence of a half and 6 out of 12. They represent the same thing. And the important thing here is that if you want to change a fraction into something that means exactly the same, you have to multiply the top, which incidentally is called the numerator, by the same number that you multiply the bottom. Bottom's the denominator. Doesn't matter what you call them, but you've got to have a multiple that's the same for the top and the bottom. Also, you can reverse the order. You can say, I want to divide 6 by 6, gives me 1, divide 12 by 6, gives me 2. So it's reversible, but it's got to be multiplication or division. You can't just add 1 to here and say this is 7 out of 13 or something like that. It's got to be a multiple. Now, with everything in life, if you want to get good at it, you've got to practice. So what I'd suggest is you could buy a book that has examples like this in it, or you can make them up yourself, depending upon the age of the child you're working with. Take a fraction like 2 out of 3. Come over here and multiply one of these numbers by something. Say we multiply the 3 by 4 and we get 12. And you give that to your student and you say, okay, don't say anything about it, just say what number goes on top. So they have to understand that this has been multiplied by 4, so the top has to be multiplied by 4. And you have to get a certain amount of practice doing that. This is where times tables come in. It's really important to learn times tables because it helps you everywhere. If you don't know the times tables, it's like you're wandering around in the dark trying to find answers. Now, depending upon the age of the student that you're working with, you could make it a little more complicated. You could say, okay, I've got 8 out of 9. I'm going to write 54 here. So what you've got to look at it and say, okay, what times 9 gives you 54? Well, it's 6. So we have to multiply the 8 by 6 and we get 48. Or you could have started out with that and say reduce the fraction, which means make it smaller. 6 into 54 gives you 9, 6 into 48 gives you 8. How did we get the numbers? Well, again, times tables are really important here. I can't stress that enough. But you need practice. Just remember, whatever you multiply this number by, you've got to multiply that number by the same thing. And once you've got lots of practice with that, then we can look at adding and subtracting fractions.